Welcome to Project Podcast with Pixie, and this is something that I have to say to everybody. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And I want you guys to know that when you're a new podcaster, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to prey upon you. There's going to be a lot of podcast promoters out there that they don't care about actually giving you numbers or feedback or anything like that. They just want your money. There are legitimate businesses out there. There are businesses, there are people, there are coaches out there that want to help you. And then there are people that are just willing to take your money. And this is one of those tall tales that warns you, don't just give away your money. Don't just give away your RSS feed to somebody who promises the world. A lot of these people, they say, I'm a professional podcast, digital marketing expert, 7 years experience, downloads, subscribers, listeners, ratings and reviews, 100% manual work. This person, if they had 7 years experience as a professional podcast promoter, they would have followers. They would have people that listen to them. I've only been on Twitter for about a year now, and I have 8,000 followers. Like, I can tell you for sure that this person, with even if they were gaining more than, I'd say, 10 people a year, they would have more followers than that. What happens is that these podcast promoters, they take your money. They you start to see a couple of like downloads and subscribes, but after a month, those subscribers unsubscribe. They unfollow you. They take away the things that are going on, and it's not a sustaining business. What you really want to do is you want to build your following one person at a time. Podcasting promoters like these, that I get messages all the time for my podcast, for my other podcast, for my third podcast. I get so many of them, and it's disheartening because they don't care. They're just there to take your money, and they prey upon new podcasters. So instead of helping you learn how to podcast, learn how to market, they just say, pay me money. And you could find a coach. You could find somebody that's willing to walk you through every step of the way of making a podcast, because sometimes that's what I do. I've helped multiple people grow successful podcasts. I grow my own. Project Podcast is still new. It's under 10 episodes, but I've been doing it for months on Twitter. I've been working. I've been making connections. I've been talking to people. And because I have a community behind me, I feel like more people need to speak out against these podcast promoters. Because even if you say don't DM me, they're DMing you. They also don't care who you are. They don't say your name. They don't say things like that. They say, sir. I'm clearly not a sir. And it's really disheartening, because that's not customer service. That's not somebody who's trying to build a following or a community. These people will, basically hold your money hostage and put your podcast into a poor light. You can buy your followers all day. And we've seen that on Twitter. We've seen it where somebody has 1,000 followers, but nobody's commenting on their stuff. So instead of that, take the time, learn who's following you, learn what they're doing, build a community around you, and post quality content. Build your following nice and slow. Easy does it, because that's really how it's going to be built. Rome wasn't built overnight. Neither is your podcast. I'm sorry to say. I know how we would all like to be millionaires as podcasters. In all reality, it's not going to happen like that. But if you build a following, if you learn and listen with the community, with yourself, what your mission statement is, put it all together, you can really have a good podcast that people are going to want to come back time and time again. And don't compare yourself to other people. If you do want a little bit more hands-on, make sure you're researching who you're doing business with, because there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of people who don't have your best interest at heart. Yes, I do have a Patreon. Yes, I teach people how to do these things, but I'm not asking for you to pay me. I'm not asking, all I'm asking for you to do is join the Twitter space every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Twitter, which is Project Podcast with Pixie. And it's just a fun, easy way to learn with other podcasters. If you've missed any of those, you can go on to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple. Project Podcast is there. There are lots of resources like how to start, how to breathe life into the podcast. Who's my best listener? Those kind of things. That is a free resource for you to learn on your own without paying somebody. And if you do have to pay somebody, do some research on them. Learn who they are. Are they a podcaster? Do they have the best interest in with you? Do they think outside the box? Do they have numbers? Can they prove what they're telling you? Or are they just blowing smoke up your keister? And with that, my name is Pixie, and you've been listening to Project Podcast with Pixie. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.